Do you know how to handle conflict without hurting each other? What if conflict in your marriage or relationship wasn't something to fear, but a path to greater closeness and understanding? Every couple faces conflict. The difference is how we handle it. When you're followers of Jesus, even hard conversations can turn into opportunities for you to grow closer together. In this recording, I'm going to give you 7 biblical ways to handle conflict without hurting each other and how to grow closer through it. Hi, I'm Kelly DuPee, pastor, police chaplain, Christian marriage coach, and author of the book, Turn It Up, How to Have the Lifelong Marriage That You Really Want. The first thing I want you to realize, though, is that conflict is normal. You see, each of us in a relationship have our own goals, dreams, desires, fears, frustrations, challenges. When we're dealing with another person, it's natural and normal for there to be conflict. I remember one time talking to a couple that were going to get married, and they said they were really young, and they said, "We've never fought." Well, I had to assure them that they were going to have conflict and that they were going to have times of fighting with each other. But I also assured them that they needed to learn how to fight so that way then they could handle that conflict and deal with it in a positive way and learn from it and grow from it. So first off, I want you to understand that if conflict happens in your relationship, it's normal and it's okay. And it doesn't mean that your marriage or your relationship is doomed to failure. It simply means you're human. All right. So let me give you the 7 biblical ways to handle conflict without hurting each other. Way number 1 is this: be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. That's what it says in James 1:19. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. Listening is more than hearing words. It's making your spouse feel seen and safe, even if you disagree. Before defending yourself, take a moment, pause, and ask yourself, do I want to be right or do I want to be close? And when you focus on listening and slow down your response, you think to yourself, how can I respond instead of react? And then holding that anger inside so that way then it's not exploding in a defensive way or responding to your spouse's concern with an attack. All right, second way is this. It's found in Proverbs 18:2. It says, "Fools find no pleasure in understanding, but delight in airing their own opinions." So way number 2 is stay curious and don't get defensive. Curiosity opens the door to healing. Use active listening, which is simply this: paraphrase what your spouse says and repeat it back to them. You start that by saying, "What I hear you say is," or "it sounds like," and then you basically repeat it back and then add feeling into it. This simple step shows empathy and builds trust, and it helps your spouse feel understood. So be curious and don't get defensive. When we get defensive, we go into either fight or flight mode, and those things are going to damage your relationship. So don't fight back defensively or don't run away. And I've got other recordings that show you how to deal with those things. Way number 3 is this: speak with grace, not blame. Ephesians 4:29 tells us, "Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up." So I want you to focus on what is going to build your spouse up, what is going to strengthen them or encourage them. So you want to speak with grace, not blame. If you're the one doing the confronting, okay, use an I statement to express your feelings instead of saying you, and that is blaming them for what they did. An I statement simply goes like this: I felt what? And then fill in the blank. Angry, hurt, frustrated, ignored, whatever. I felt when you, and then fill in the blank for that. When you didn't call to tell me that you were going to be late. Or when you walked away when I was trying to talk to you, I felt rejected. So those are I statements. And once you've stated how you feel, then make a request. Would you please? And a request always has a question mark at the end of it. Would you please? And then you ask them to either do something or not do something, because your words can wound or they can heal. So choose grace every time. By the way, I wrote a brief couples communication guide with more information on this that I'd love to send to you. Just type guide in the comments or use the link in the description to order yours. It's free, and I think it would really help your communication. Way number 4 is this: call a timeout when emotions run high. Proverbs 15:1 says, a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. So when things escalate, take a break, step back, breathe, pray, or have a drink of water. Then return with a calm heart and an open mind and begin to express what's on your heart using the I statement like I mentioned. In conflict, it's easy to fall into two extremes, as I said, fighting harder or shutting down. But neither of them bring peace. Stay engaged and remind yourself we're not enemies, we're partners. So stay committed to working through it together, not avoiding it or overpowering the other person. So call a timeout, think about what you want to say, and then come back and re-engage. And you'll see that then you can have a productive conversation. When I suggest this to couples, a lot of times I hear, well, wait a minute, we call a timeout, but Pastor Kelly, what happens is that when we come back, my husband just wants to ignore the issue. He doesn't want to talk about it. So we avoid it and then never address it. And all it does is just get swept under the rug. Well, I tell them that anytime you sweep something under the rug, all you're doing is creating a tripping hazard. So don't do that, but talk about what the problem is and address it. All right, way number 5 is this: always assume the best and focus on the issue, not the person. 1 Corinthians 13:7 says, love always trusts. Matthew 7 verse 5 tells us to take the log out of your own eye before removing the speck out of someone else's. So don't attack each other, but face the problem together. In fact, what you might want to do is write the name of the problem on a piece of paper and then sit next to each other and look at that piece of paper. And you want to address the problem together instead of facing each other and making the other person the problem. Your problem is not your problem, but how you see your problem is your problem. So stay focused and assume your spouse means well, even if their words fall short or if they've done something wrong or something that's hurtful. By the way, if these tips are helpful, I hope they are. Take a moment right now and hit the subscribe button so you can get all my daily marriage tip videos. Way number 6 is this: compromise to create a win-win situation or solution. Ephesians 5:21 says, submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. You're not making one person a winner that the other person then submits to and is subservient to, but what you're doing is you're submitting to each other as the Bible tells us to do. Healthy conflict isn't about winning, because if somebody's winning, that means usually that somebody is losing. So what you want to do is create a situation where both of you feel like you've won. It's all about creating unity. So let your spouse influence you. Look for common ground. Ask, what are we going to do about this? How can we solve this issue? And then give up your position and discuss some possible solutions until you find one that is mutually agreeable to both of you. So you both feel like, yeah, this is good. Yes, I'm on board with this. Yes, we can do this. Way number 7 is to reconnect then quickly and make sure that Jesus stays at the center of your relationship. Romans 12:18 calls us to live at peace, and Ecclesiastes 4:12 says a cord of 3 strands is not easily broken. That 3 strands is you, your spouse, and Jesus. Don't let unresolved tension linger. Tell your spouse how you feel, then ask them to do something about that if they've hurt your feelings. Be quick to apologize if you've said or done something that hurts your spouse. And then ask for and give forgiveness. Reconnect. And above all else, pray. Invite Jesus into your relationship. Ask him to guide you. Ask him to strengthen you. With Christ at the center, your marriage can grow stronger, conflict and all. Well, for more on this topic, let me suggest you watch this video. Improving your listening skills can strengthen your marriage. Thanks for watching. May God bless you and all your relationships, especially your marriage. And please let me know if I can help you. I'm going to put my cell number in the description, and you can book a free call with me so that I can help you get back on track and have the kind of marriage that God wants you to have. Bye-bye.